go. So we're on 12:6, we're solving rational equations. So it's an equation, it has an equality sign, and the first thing you do is clear the fraction by multiplying each term by LCD. Now, what I'm doing is I'm comparing these. Here's the same thing. This is what we just had up there. 1/2, watch, everybody. Up on our warm-up, we just did the left side. We were just adding two fractions. Notice what my answer was. It was a fraction. It's over the common denominator. Now on this one, just put it on my desk. Thank you. Now on this, we're solving. Our first step is to get rid of the denominator. And how we do that is fraction busting. We're clearing the fractions. You still need to find the common denominator. So we find the LCD. Here's our steps. Our LCD, if I look at all of these, the x is up in the numerator, is just 10. So I multiply, notice, each term by 10. Basically, I kind of skipped a step there. And just for you guys to understand what I'm doing is that I am multiplying both sides by 10 over 1. So I distribute it here, distribute it here. That's how it gets to each term. I'm doing the same thing to the left side and the right side. Notice after that first step, Hans, no more denominators. I don't want you to rewrite it over the common denominator. I will not give you credit. You need to learn how to get rid of the common denominator. So don't start doing your homework because you could be doing it totally wrong. Okay? You should go from here to here with no denominators, and now you just solve it. You check your answer. And you don't really need to check it by this. The only thing I'll show you, you'll see what I mean by checking it. Okay, on here. So this is the one that's like the warm-up. What's my common denominator here? 10x. Now notice what I did on number 1. I rewrote over the common denominator. Here, I multiply both sides by 10x. So basically, I'm multiplying 10x to this one and 10x to this one. Here and here. And see you later. The x cancels. 10 over 2 is 5. And 5 times 1 is 5. See you later, denominator, and you have plus 3x. See you later, denominator. 10 over 5 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now I can solve it. So you have 3x equals negative 3. X is negative 1. This is your answer. The only thing that x could not be is what? What would make it extraneous? What can't you have in the denominator?
Negative number.
0. And so if your solution came up to be x equals 0, that would be extraneous. It cannot be 0 because then you'd have 0 in the denominator. What can't this one be? Number 7. That can't be what? T can't be 1. Because if t is 1, wouldn't you have 1 minus 1, which is 0? Okay, so let's go through it. Okay, on this one, Safa, what would I multiply both sides by? 6? 6 and what? What would be, I'm sorry, what? 6x. It has to include all the factors. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 6x. So I'm going to multiply this term also. So 6 over 3 is 2. You get 2x. The x's cancel. 6 over 3 is 2. The 6's cancel, and I just get x. So I subtract x, and now I subtract 2. Is it okay for x to be 2?
Negative 2.
Negative 2, is it okay for it to be negative 2? Why not? Who's saying no? The only thing that it can't be is 0. This is fine. It can be -2. It can't be 0 because x is in the denominator. Okay? So that's how I'm checking my solution. What can't x be on this one, class? 0. If you get a solution anything but 0, that's okay. So Jordan, what would I multiply each term by here? I'm sorry, what? 10x. Okay, so everybody multiply both sides by 10x and see what you get. Show me the next step without the denominator. Iris, what'd you get? Okay. On here, the x's cancel. You get 40. Here I'm going to multiply this by 10x also. The x's cancel. 10 over 2 is 5. You get 15. Here, this cancels. You get minus 2x. So I subtract 15. You get 25 equals negative 2x. Divide by negative 2. There's your answer. Questions on any of those steps? It's pretty easy. You're just getting rid of the fraction. Oscar, what are you going to multiply both sides on by number 5? X. This is over 1. It's the greatest number of times x squared. Perfect. If you don't get rid of all the denominators, you didn't multiply by the correct thing. So the x squared cancels, you end up with 5. When I multiply this by x squared, the x goes out, you get 6x minus x squared. It's quadratic. How do we solve quadratics? We get it equal to 0. I'm going to bring the x squared over to the left side to make it positive. Bring the 6x over to the left side, and I'll do my diamond. And you have 5 and negative 6. It would be negative 1 and negative 5. So x minus 1, x minus 5. So x equals 1 or x equals 5. That's okay. Questions? Okay, last one. Hans, what would I multiply each term by? M squared. We're going to save number 7 for tomorrow. Okay, so if I multiply this, the m's cancel, you get 5m. Multiply this by m squared, see you later. And you get 2 plus 2m squared. I want to keep this positive, so I'm going to subtract the 5m and bring everything to the right side. I'll do my modified diamond. Here we are again, factoring. I sure didn't fib to you about how important factoring is. And you reduce. So you have m minus 2, 2m minus 1. So m equals 2 or m equals positive 1/2. You're done. Okay, now, you guys, stay with me. Look at number 3, because we have room right here. Shh. What if I would have just had this? 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3x. If I'm just adding fractions, I rewrite over the common denominator. I don't get rid of the denominator. I rewrite it over the common denominator. I would just multiply this by x over x. You get x. So my answer is x plus 1 over 3x. You get a fraction. Notice on these, when I'm solving, my answer is a number. You're solving what x equals. Here I'm adding 2 fractions, so my answer is a fraction. Notice the difference. Here I'm rewriting over the common denominator. Here I'm getting rid of the denominator by multiplying both sides. Yes, Zach.
For number 6, what would be equals?
Okay,